Popping fresh out the kitchen, mama rolling that body, got every man wishing, sipping on coke and rum. Oh,
We're recording?
we're recording now. What?
Hold
on. Podcast voice.
La 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 la. Me.
That's what it is. Shwoo! Manhands and Meatloaf. This is episode the 6th.
The sixth
Is that
installment.
right? Sixth installment.
Yeah.
My name's Steve. His name's Mike. It's good to have you back with us. Today we're going to get literary. Yeah?
Ooh.
We're going to talk about a series of books that is dear to, I think, both of our hearts, yes?
Yeah.
Now, let me stop here. I just had a thought.
Okay.
And forgive my ignorance in advance.
Go for it.
Have you read these books? Because aren't you just a...
Sorry, folks, for the guffaw.
Aren't you just a...
Laughing. I have read 2 of the books.
Oh, that's so good.
But I've only watched the movies.
But you've seen all the movies we're about to talk about.
I've seen all the movies at least once.
Okay.
Most of them 2 or 3 times.
And let me say this, too. That's funny. I just remembered that.
And I'm a member of the website.
Oh, me too. Sure.
You haven't mentioned the...
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah.
By way of introduction, let me say this. Before we, in our pre-production meeting, as it were, Mike and I were discussing, or actually I was asking Mike if he was comfortable talking about this particular series. And the reason I was is because in my old line of work, where I worked, the folks with whom I worked would not have looked kindly upon my enjoyment of this.
Let's be a bit more vague.
I know, right? I'm trying to see how sort of...
I once knew a person who had some thoughts which some may feel are offensive.
And then, when no one was looking, and then I had to... No, this is... But that's why I asked you, so it's
Just
funny.
say it.
It's funny that we're
Go ahead
talking
and
about
say
it.
it.
I'm nervous, too.
Harry Potter.
Larry Cotter. We'll give it a code name for the whole show.
Harry Potter.
Potter. Right, so...
Hello, Harry.
So Mike and I both love this series. Yeah. I have read every book, and I've read some of the books twice.
My wife has read them all, and whenever we watch the movies, I get, like, basically director's cut commentary.
Oh, yes, because I have actually seen your wife accompanied my wife and I to one of the premieres, and she, like my wife, is a purist.
Yeah.
And so they were, through the movie, pointing out things that had been altered.
I really like the movies. I've read, I guess, the first 2 books. Most of the second one, I guess. And I enjoy them. Because I've been on the website, Pottermore.
Right.
I have taken the test there. And
wait, don't say it yet.
Into
right, don't say it yet. Yeah, I want to ask you first, because I forgot about that. I have 2, and we are not in the same house, are we?
We are not.
Oh, that's right.
Not even close.
Tell me why, though. Let's start broad and general, and then we'll get more specific. Why do you like it? And I'll tell you why I do after.
I've always loved the devil.
Yes.
And witchcraft and wizardry.
Yes. Couldn't find an outlet for my sorcery hankering.
No, I just think it's interesting. I have always enjoyed like fantasy style things. I mean, Lord of the Rings I like a lot, and I never played Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of stuff. But I'm not. I mean, but I always enjoyed that kind of stuff. I guess in a fun way or whatever. And so to me, Harry Potter is like a version of that. It's a whole world. Yeah. I like that it's a whole encompassed kind of universe there.
Right, self-contained, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think it's a good storyline. It gives you ways to identify. We mentioned the different houses at Hogwarts. That's just one area where I think people can easily identify with either a character or group of characters or some part in the story where they can find themselves, in all of that. I kind of feel like it's somewhat harmless as far as that part of it. I mean, I also read the Narnia books when I was a child. They talked about magic and witches and those kinds of things. And,
yeah, totally.
And I think in similar ways, there's a good allegory here in Harry Potter.
If you'll indulge me.
Yeah.
A little backstory on my part. Is that okay?
Yeah, do it.
So I used to work at a church. We both have worked in churches, and I worked at a church, and
Yes.
The church where I worked, a lot of the folks in the church had some real reservations about this series. They'd heard things, etc. And so I wanted to know for myself. That's always been important to me, and I think to you too, to know things for myself, to know, to get to the root of the whatever. So I went and checked out the first book, Sorcerer's Stone. First I dipped
the
it.
Philosopher's Stone.
Right. First thing I did was I dipped it in oil. No, I'm just kidding. So, and I read it.
Yeah.
And by the end of the book, I was absolutely, as you've touched on, in love with everything about it, the setting, the characters, etc. We'll get into that more in a moment. But there's a particular line at the end of the book.
Okay.
Right? And I won't try to give the whole context, but one of the characters says to another character it's Dumbledore talking to Harry. And he says, I guess we'll give some context. Talking about why Voldemort couldn't kill Harry, wasn't able to kill him when he was a baby. And Dumbledore said, your mom died trying to save you.
Come on now.
Right?
Come on now.
And so when someone sacrifices for you because they love you, that's a magic that's deeper than Voldemort. Right? So
it's a deep magic, as Lewis would say.
Yeah, right. And I thought to myself, how many Christians, if they heard this said to them in a slightly different context, would, as you've just done, half joking, amen that.
Yeah.
Right?
I would agree with it.
And it reminds me of, watch this connection here. It reminds me of Samwise's speech in the movie version of The Two Towers, where all the great stories in the world have this common thread that there are things worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this whole series. Loyalty.
I just got chills.
Right? Loyalty, friendship, love. I adore everything about this series for those reasons.
I love the character of Samwise too. You just brought that up.
Yeah.
Another day we'll talk about Lord of the Rings and Samwise.
We'll have to put a pin in the Lord of the Rings, so it's got to get in line behind education.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, I'll talk about that as well. But I just thought of another character. So anyway, those are the reasons we like this series, and we at your suggestion, we've each compiled our 3 favorite characters, and we'll kind of see where this kind of leads us.
Yes.
But these are our 3 favorite characters outside of the big 3.
The big 3 being Harry,
Ron, and Hermione. And then we also, I think, by
we both excluded Dumbledore
as well
because I thought it was just too obvious of a
right. It seems obviously he's. I mean, I wish I were as wise and gentle and kind and caring and powerful and magic as Dumbledore apparently was. So he's obviously up there, but we're not going to do him. So you give me your number 1, number 3. Give me your number 3 because I've rated mine and number 1's my favorite, number 2. So give me number 3 and I'll give you my number 3. We'll talk about it.
My number 3, and I went again, not the big 3. I chose Arthur Weasley.
Okay.
I really liked his character. I mean, he's a wizard, but he's kind of normal, and he has his family, and he studies the Muggles, and somehow I kind of thought if I was in this world, I love history, I love studying other cultures.
Right.
I could see myself as a wizard being fascinated by Muggle culture.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
But so I I really identified with him. Hey, he's still a wizard, mister.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You better back off.
That's right, sure.
But
he's fascinated by rubber duckies.
Yeah, and he's approachable, likable. So I liked him a lot.
So for the sake of conversation and continuity thereof, I will tell you that Mr. Weasley was my number 2.
No way.
Absolutely, yeah.
How about that?
Obviously, the fact that Harry lost his parents at a very early age sets the stage for a lot of paternal issues and father figures to the series, right?
Yeah.
And then anti-father characters, Voldemort being obviously the main one. But I think, obviously, Dumbledore fathers Harry a bit, and later on, his godfather. But I think Mr. Weasley gives Harry that grounded kind of your best friend's dad, the guy in the neighborhood where you like to go to his house because the parents are nice and...
Or that uncle that kind of steps in to be a surrogate of sorts. Yeah, that's the way I thought of him too.
And Mr. Weasley
loves Harry.
Yeah, and he seems to understand. Can we go as deep as we need to in this?
I think we can
completely geek out a bit?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mr. Weasley seems to understand.
We can geek out because those not interested have already turned it off. If you're not interested in Harry Potter, you've already hit stop.
That's right. That's a good point.
You're among friends.
Mr. Weasley seems to understand the things that frustrate Harry the most. So, for example, when they think in the third book that when Harry finds out what Sirius allegedly did, when he says, Harry, don't go looking for him, he has this sense of how Harry thinks. And as the books progress, to me, along with another character that's on my list, he seems to give Harry the most room to try to figure out, to find his way as he comes into young manhood, and it's to figure out, how to handle this call on his life, so to speak. I really, really like Mr. Weasley.
I do too.
Number 2.
I feel that was so weird because I thought you were going to be like, what? Arthur Weasley?
No. I would
totally.
Yeah. Okay. So if I were in that world and I needed someone to confide in, Mr. Weasley, along with someone else on my list, I would go to him first.
You could trust Weasley.
Yeah. And I do love the fact that he needs Harry's help to ride the tube in London. I think that's really great. Okay, my number 3.
Yeah, who's your number 3?
Luna Lovegood.
Very interesting because she's my number 2.
No way. Okay, so I'll tell you why. Then you tell me why. I like. Is guileless the right word?
Okay.
There's a certain. Obviously, she's kind of kooky.
Yeah.
Kids at school, even Hermione, with a slip of the tongue, calls her Loony Luna. I think in the book, anyway. But there's a certain innocence to her, but that innocence is underpinned by, I think, a real sort of wisdom and a purity of thought, which I know, again, I'm getting really philosophical. But she and her dad support Harry from the start.
Yeah.
When he first comes out and says Voldemort's back, she believes him. She in the movies and in the book, she has some of the greatest lines. Things you lose have a way of finding their way back to you, that kind of thing.
She knows a lot more than people than is let on.
Yeah. And, a little side note, I watched J.K. Rowling on Charlie Rose, and they were talking about the casting of the movie and the big 3 and how it changed their lives. And she said that of all the people who were cast in all the roles for all the movies, the actress who plays Luna Lovegood, it was like she was made for that role.
Oh, wow.
That all the other ones, they took to the roles well and they grew into them, but the actress who plays, I don't know her name in real life,
You mean her name's not really?
No, sorry.
Luna Lovegood.
No, let's take a minute. But no, she's easily my number 3. So why? What do you like her?
Similar reasons, and I think, I like that she's kind of. She's there at the school with them and participates in things that they're doing, but that's not all who she is.
Right.
You feel like she has this whole world outside of Hogwarts. Within Hogwarts, but beyond what even they're aware of. And she reminded me of, we are getting kind of philosophical.
We sure are, yeah.
Because she reminded me of that person in school, like middle school, high school, that I kind of wished I could have been. That is independent of what others thought.
That's right.
She was there, and they had names for her, but she really didn't care.
Right.
She was her own person.
Yeah.
And was, unfazed by what anybody else thought of her. And I kind of wish, I could have been that person. At times I maybe tried to be, but, I always cared too much.
And I think if I'm being completely honest, it's still something I am tempted by. I struggle with even now. I think we always want to have that, people like us or whatever. Yeah, I totally get it. So we've got 3 and 2.
How about that? And I was not sure which order to place them in.
Right,
because
right. And then I have 2 honorable mentions.
And you've made me like Weasley more and more that we thought about it.
Yeah, for sure. He's great. All right, so who's your number 1 then?
Well, I almost didn't place him there because I thought it was kind of obvious, but Severus Snape.
Okay, I didn't put him on my list at all. But I go ahead.
I love the character of Severus.
So let me ask you this. Let me take this angle. Yeah. Did you see all this coming? Like, let's say when you're watching the 4th or 5th or even the 6th movie, where at the end, spoilers coming, world, spoilers coming. But even at the end of the 6th movie,
you haven't watched the movie in the last 5 years. It's not called a spoiler anymore.
Did you see what was going with his arc?
Not exactly, but I liked Severus before I had a feeling he was going to turn. I'll tell you why. And there may be some Harry Potter purists out there who maybe get a little upset with me.
Sure.
And this is where I have this discussion with my wife all the time. My experience with Harry Potter is through the movies.
Right.
Not as much the books.
So as personified by Alan Rickman.
Yes, and the same characters that played Harry Potter and all those. Based on the movies, sometimes Harry gets on my nerves.
Gotcha, sure.
I mean, he seems a bit arrogant.
Right. Book 5 for me especially. I was like, shut up. Quit your whining. Right.
Seems quite arrogant. And I get it, at the beginning you feel for him because he had this terrible life with his aunt and uncle. But he kind of has grown into this. Now he's a celebrity.
Right.
And every good thing, and every bad thing, but every good thing happens to Harry Potter.
So you agree when Snape calls him?
So I didn't mind Severus being hard on him because it was kind of like, you know... And then when you get the flashbacks, I'm not sure which book it is, and you realize how mean Harry's dad had been to him.
That bothered me too, sure.
You know, and that he had been in love with Harry's mother, and oh my goodness, you just feel for the guy. And so I don't remember when it was that I sensed there's more to Severus. I mean, they showed him kind of sneaking around a couple times, and you think, is he tied in with... you know, Malfoy and the rest, or maybe something else is going on.
Well, for me, you know, when I read Book 6, Half-Blood Prince, where he kills Dumbledore, when I read it, and when, you know, Dumbledore, this happens in the movie too, and Dumbledore says, Severus, please. But the way he said it, I thought, okay, there has to be. Dumbledore is smart enough, whatever, that he has orchestrated this whole thing.
Yeah, he couldn't have killed him unless Dumbledore wanted him to.
And this is where Dumbledore, this will either make people agree with me or they'll be sort of filled with rage and hate. Dumbledore sometimes reminds me of God in this sense, that Dumbledore is willing for Harry to... He knew Harry would feel this excruciating pain and anger and whatever, but he knew that it was part of a bigger plan, right? Even the whole bit about raising, you know, when Severus in the last movie says, you've raised him like a pig for slaughter just the right time. Well, Dumbledore always had this idea that if Voldemort tried to kill Harry, it wouldn't actually kill Harry.
Yeah, I didn't include Albus, and I probably wouldn't have. I'm not sure if you did. Who's your number one?
My number one's Lupin.
Okay, we'll come to that in a second.
Yeah.
Albus, Dumbledore, kind of bothered me.
Because?
I felt like at times he was a bit manipulative of Harry.
Yeah. But I think in the end
I mean, he had the bigger picture in mind, and realized, but I felt like he kind of manipulated him a bit. You know, and wasn't always present. And
well, how do you tell a 14-year-old boy that they have to let someone kill them so they can live?
Well, maybe you don't tell that.
But that's what I mean to say. That's why I'm forgiving of Dumbledore, because he had to get Harry to the place where he would willingly give himself up to die, but not say, you know. But it'd be okay because you're probably a Horcrux and you won't actually die.
But he didn't know he was a Horcrux.
I think Dumbledore did.
You think he knew?
Absolutely.
Anyway,
so Lupin's my number one.
Okay.
I adore Professor Lupin. Because he just gets me. I think he'd be that...
Wait, have you met him before?
And again, when I read the character first in the books, I thought, man, he's great. He understands Harry's situation. He can sympathize with at least the idea of, you know, being someone, you know, having parts of you that other people can't see and can't relate to because he's got the werewolf business. But then when I watch the movies and the character who plays him, I think his name is David Thewlis. I think his name is. Anyway, they really kind of came to life literally for me. I think he's great. He's empathetic and sympathetic, but he's also passionate. And I really like him,
I like him too.
Harry needed him, and he came along at the right time.
Yeah, because especially when, he played that character as well, like an uncle.
Well, and for me, Lupin, when I say Lupin, I also think of Lupin's relationship with Sirius, you know, Moony, Padfoot, all that business. The fact that they had this bond that was really a life bond, which I can relate to, one. And two, I want in my life, too. So Lupin represents all that for me. Okay,
and Lupin was also, in the way that I criticized Dumbledore for not being very honest with Harry, it felt like Lupin was. Like, he was willing to take Harry on the inside.
That's right.
And let him know some things that others weren't saying to Harry. He would be honest with him and speak the truth to him.
And I just saw this might be worth exploring, although I don't think Rowling's ever going to write any more books. But, you know, Lupin's son is in the same position Harry was in the sense that his parents were killed when he was still a baby. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had two honorable mentions. Did you put down anybody?
I had one.
So I had Dobby and McGonagall.
Okay.
I love Dobby, a free elf. You know, he dies.
Yeah.
He says something good. It's good to be with my friends. I think Dobby's great.
This is, maybe you could help me, because you've read the books, so you remember some of this stuff. You know, I mean, the elf is pretty powerful.
Crazy powerful,
like, once he's freed, especially, he can be really powerful.
That's right.
And I'm surprised that maybe the books just don't show it. That he doesn't utilize that power more often.
Well, I think, now I am going to now speak for Miss Rowling.
Okay.
I don't know if she intended this, but to me, it is in some way the epitome of meekness. In other words, he has this because in the last book, in the first part of the last movies, he exercises that power over witches.
Yeah.
Which is completely verboten, in the caste structure of that world.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to use that power. And he does use it to save his friends by disapparating out of the dungeon and taking the wands from Malfoy's mom and from Bellatrix Lestrange. So in a sense, the fact that he shows restraint most of the time, I think endears him to me.
The guy that played Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
The actor?
Yeah, the actor.
It completely escapes me.
Isaacs?
Oh, yeah, Jason Isaacs.
Isaacs.
Yeah.
So he was in this cop show last year.
Yeah, the Time Deal.
Yeah.
Where he's with one... Yeah.
We couldn't watch it. I was halfway through the season, and I kept seeing Malfoy. But he was a cop. I was like, wait a second. He's cut his hair.
And I think he was American in the TV show. There was no American accent.
Yeah, it was weird. I almost couldn't even watch that. I mean, I felt bad for the actor because I thought, he has kind of placed himself in this. Anyway, that's something else. But it's interesting when actors.
Well, on those lines, I saw
those roles.
A movie with Hermione in it last night that was not Harry Potter, and it was weird.
Yeah, because for a while you're thinking of them as Hermione as
right.
That's who they're casting.
Right.
Hermione or Lucius.
So we touched on this. We didn't actually answer the question. What house are you in?
Well, I took several.
We're going with the Pottermore
quizzes
sorting,
prior to Pottermore,
right?
And all of those said I was Ravenclaw. However,
for a brief time, we were both in Ravenclaw based on a Facebook test. But
I took one that was like 100 questions. It was like really
right.
Someone sent it to me, and I took it because I do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I said Ravenclaw, and I thought, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Went to Pottermore, a totally different kind of test.
Yes.
And heard Rowling talking about it.
Yeah.
And I was Slytherin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, knowing you, as I do, is interesting. Because I don't know. I don't know if I see that whole... Because the Slytherin thing is, their thirst for greatness can be good or it can be bad.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Wait, it now makes perfect sense. Yeah, no, say no more. Yeah, you're at home. But no, it does make sense in a way.
It didn't. For a second, I was like, "What?"
Right.
But then, you read the description. I thought, I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, I'm not
evil. I don't. But you don't have to be evil.
No, not at all. Do you know what house I'm in, or can you see that I wrote it down, or did you know before I wrote it?
I remember you told me.
What'd you think when I told you?
I
did you giggle a little bit just because?
A little bit, and I actually kind of thought it. After taking the test on Pottermore, which is like choosing between certain images and certain kinds of feelings, I thought it would be you.
I'm in Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, no, I wanted to be in Ravenclaw too. I didn't think I had a chance at Gryffindor. But then I think one of the main characteristics of a Hufflepuff is loyalty. Is that right?
Sure. Whatever makes you feel better.
Is that what it is, or what is it? Do you know tonight? What is it?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it is loyalty.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel kind of like a loyal person. I mean...
You know what made me think that you were going to be in Hufflepuff before you even took the test?
Tell me.
Or I thought you might. Because after I got Slytherin, I thought, okay, this test is very different than anything others have designed.
Right.
And it's kind of getting at different things I didn't recognize. You're kind of a homebody.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of talks about, where you'd prefer to be.
Oh, that's right. Sort of a...
Yeah, I think you'd prefer to be there.
That you're totally right. Now that you say that, I think, that is there some talk about the Hufflepuff common room? How it has a
very homey.
Yeah.
Warm and inviting.
So producers just fact checked a bit. Hufflepuff known for, tell me again, friendly, loyal, and honest. Which
you got one of those.
We don't know. We're not gonna say which one. But yeah, that makes sense. I feel better about it. And of course. Our one great claim to fame is Cedric Diggory. Right?
Right.
So we've got Cedric Diggory and Edward Cullen all in one fell swoop.
So how weird is this? We both thought we were Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
And we ended up being Slytherin and...
Right.
I was called Huff and Puff.
My wife's a Slytherin.
Maybe that's why I'm Slytherin.
My wife's a Slytherin too.
Yeah?
She's not as comfortable with it as you are.
I'm okay. I have a dark side.
I'm good with Hufflepuff.
And I know I do. I'm okay with that.
The fact that I'm good not being in Gryffindor tells me more about my development as an adult than anything else.
I didn't want to be Gryffindor.
All kidding aside. Really?
I'd take that test over, yeah.
No way.
No, again, I have sometimes Harry and Ron annoy me.
Sure. Hermione too?
I think she should have been Ravenclaw.
Hermione?
Yeah.
She's not witty, she's not...
she's smart, man.
Smart, but she's not... I almost think of witty in Ravenclaw terms like snarky almost.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But then isn't Cho Chang a Ravenclaw?
I think so.
She's not really super, sort of quick.
Were all the Weasleys Gryffindor?
Oh.
All of them.
That's part of their heritage, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I think even Mrs. Weasley was a Gryffindor. I think so.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
That makes sense.
So we're going to play word association in a moment.
Yes.
We're going to turn the tables, but one last question regarding Harry Potter for you, and then I'll answer it too.
Okay.
Do you wish, would you like, or what do you think, either any way you want, that Rowling would continue the story? Do you wish she would?
I would like to see a prequel.
Okay.
I would like to see her go back and talk about the founding of Hogwarts.
Okay.
I think that would
way
be
back.
really fun. And go back and then actually talk about
and
those
that would
people.
free her from
Salazar,
having to.
something.
That would free her from the loyalty people feel towards the current characters.
That's right.
She could
You
go way
wouldn't have
back
to even talk about, but you could still be talking about things that will impact those characters, but how they happened.
Yeah.
Much more. I think that would be fun. What about you?
I wish she would continue. I would like to continue it even now with Harry and Ron are Aurors and what the kids do. I would.
Okay.
She could even sort of skip forward to when Harry and Ron's kids are,
I didn't mention is one of my favorites was Neville.
Yeah, I like Neville too. Yeah,
he could have made.
And Seamus makes me laugh.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I'd like for it to go forward. Have you read her, or has Angelin read The Casual Vacancy? Rowling's
No, I have not. Have you?
We checked it out from the library, gave it a go, but it was a 7-day checkout, and I didn't finish it, so I've not gone back to it. So
that lets you know.
Yeah. All right, we're turning the tables.
So, word association. Yeah. This time, I'm the one saying the word.
Right.
I'll give you one word. You respond with another word or sentence, feeling,
whatever comes to mind.
However you want to respond.
Are you going to say one word or a phrase?
One word.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one word. Right.
You can take a moment, or just say immediately the first thing that comes to your mind.
Yeah, given my filtration issues, I might take a moment.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Your word is shamrock.
Oh. Okay. Wow.
That gives a lot of places.
My mind is flooded with images and thoughts. So one, I have a shamrock tattoo.
Okay.
Which then begets the thought, I had a shamrock license plate.
Yes, you did. I forgot.
And then I had an Aaron Go Bra bumper sticker.
Okay.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, means Ireland forever.
Something like that.
Something like that. And that makes me think about how, not so much right now in my life, but there was a long period of time when I was very much sort of, I'm Irish, and that's, I sort of claim that heritage for myself and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, how about that?
That sort of, I'm flooded with reminiscences now.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure that's a word, but yeah, I'm thinking about the car that I had the bumper sticker on in that time of my life, and I'm thinking about House of Pain.
Yeah, I thought about that too, and I wrote it down.
House of Pain, yeah. Shamrocks and Shenanigans.
Or was it Shillelaghs?
I don't know.
What?
Is it? We'll have to fact check for next episode.
Fact check.
I feel like it's Shamrocks and Shenanigans.
Maybe it is.
Anyway, it might be neither. But yeah, that was a good one. That one. That
look
one
on your face. If we could have video podcasted his face,
that's a lot.
You could see him going through processing millions of shamrocks in his mind.
We have just fact checked it. Fact checked it. I'm all beclumped from.
We checked the fat and fact.
It's Shamrocks and Shenanigans.
Shenanigans, you got it.
Which is from House of Pain's, I guess their first release, and obviously their best, was the album. The album was called House of Pain. It had the song "Jump Around" on it, and "Top of the Morning to You." But what I'm thinking about now, as we come to a close here, is that ultimately, I believe my heritage is actually more Scotch than Irish.
I had a similar revelation.
Yeah.
I always thought I was Irish.
My mom is a McCumber, which is decidedly Scottish, and if I'm not mistaken, my folks committed to Ireland by way of Scotland.
You know what would be fun? A genealogy episode. Coming up next. Episode 7, genealogy.
We are Steve and Mike. This is Manhands and Meatloaf. Follow us on Twitter at Manhands Podcast, Facebook, Manhands and Meatloaf, and we also have a YouTube page.